In my decade of experience as a producer, I found building a song around a vocal to be one of the most fun and effective ways to make music. So today, let's produce a pop song around this vocal sample that I found on Splice.
So I let somebody go, ooh. I let somebody go, ooh.
Okay, so we have the vocal, which is going to be the backbone of our song. And my first instinct is to build some chords around this, as that will set the mood for the rest of the song. So given the vibe and character of the vocal, I think the chords should sound faint and soothing. So let's open the free plugin Labs for that, as they have the perfect soft piano sound. And let's maybe add a guitar rig on top of this, just to spice things up and add a little bit of character. Beautiful. So now let's get some chords down. But since I'm more comfortable playing just the white keys on the keyboard, like the C major, A minor scale, I'll transpose the piano to match the vocal, which is an F major. And F major is 5 semitones above C. So we'll have to shift the pitch of the piano down by 5 semitones by moving this blue selector through right clicking. And as a result, when I play a C on the keyboard, we're actually hearing an F, meaning this trick allows us to play the keyboard as if we're in C major, but we actually hear the F major key. So let's loop the verse section of our vocal with the metronome enabled, and let's start messing on the keyboard.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't broken apart by you. Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't broke.
So after experimenting on the keyboard for some time, I ended up on the following 4-5-6 progression. Where the 5 is a little different than usual, because instead of playing the 5th, which would be this D, we're staying on C, which is the 4th, and that adds a nice emotional touch and works well because our first chord also includes this C. And the third chord, our home chord, is really just a minor 7th, which sounds slightly more playful than the usual minor triad. And to make the overall progression sound more interesting rhythmically, the second and third chords start a 16th note before the 1 or the downbeat. So instead of doing this, we're doing this. Which makes the progression slightly less predictable and works well with the rhythm of the vocal.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't.
Okay, I'm happy with the chords, so let's think about what's next. I think the first 4 bars should really just be vocals and piano, to just set the mood. And after that, we should introduce some new elements, like maybe a muted guitar playing a rhythmic pattern like ba-dum-bum, 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 ba-dum-bum. Like maybe that could add some movement and excitement. And to make sure it's introduced more smoothly, let's add a low pass filter. And also maybe a snap going like ba-dum-bum, 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 ba-dum-bum. Like that might be cool as well.
Wait in the dark. I try to cover up the mistakes in the.
Nice. Now, the pacing of the elements so far definitely leaves some room for drums that can help drive up the energy. So in the next section, in the pre-chorus, I think we should go for something that gives that head nod feel, like ch, ch. And for this, we need a kick and maybe a clap. So let's go back to Splice for a second. So something like this feels good. But let's maybe add a low pass filter to the clap to make it sound more subtle. And let's also add some high pass filter automation to the kick to save all of that powerful low end for the chorus.
And I let somebody know me better. I thought that I would miss her more, but
Okay, so I feel we're lacking a bit in like the low mids and low frequencies. So let's try adding a bass guitar for some extra warmth, but we want to make sure it doesn't reveal too much bass and low end power yet, because we want to save that for the chorus, just like with the kick. So let's add our beloved Rickenbacker bass, as well as a Pro Q3, to tame both the lowest and the highest frequencies for a more subtle, concealed bass sound. So let's take a quick listen to what we've got so far in this section.
let somebody know me better. I thought that I would miss her more, but I wake up and I feel better. Cause I let somebody go. We've been going on forever. There's no more crying on the floor. And she said it's now or never. So I let somebody go. Ooh.
Okay, so as we're heading towards the most important part, the chorus, I think we should do a few things to make the transition to the chorus as strong as possible. Like, let's first get rid of all the drums in the final 8th bar of the pre.
He said it's now or never. So I let somebody go.
And also I think we can shape the piano chords in a way to better follow the part that goes, and I let somebody go. Like, maybe by going bum 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 bum. Like, ooh, like that could be really cool. Let's try that.
So I let somebody go. Ooh.
And I think we should also add like a subtle boom effect, like a sub drop on the downbeat of that final 8th bar of the pre-chorus for like some extra impact. Like, I happen to know that there's a few good ones in the Kashmir Volume 3 pack, so let's check that out. Okay, let's drag it in and make it very quiet so it's subtle.
Never. So I let somebody go. Ooh.
Okay, so the ooh is where the chorus starts, and because I'm a big fan of keeping things simple, I think we should make the chorus very minimal, especially because we already have these beautiful vocal harmonies here that do a pretty good job at making the vocals sound more full and memorable.
Ooh. I let somebody go. Ooh. Ooh. I let somebody go. Ooh.
So I'm thinking let's copy over the kick and the clap from before, but without the high pass and low pass filters respectively, so they're finally revealed.
Ooh. I let somebody go.
Now it definitely needs some more rhythm and energy, so let's try copying over our mute guitar patch from the previous sections while also getting rid of its low pass filter.
Ooh. I let somebody go.
And as you can tell, that's much better already because the guitar really acts as like a percussive element, you know, like it substitutes the need for a drum loop. Though I still think we can make it sound more special from a melodic point of view, like because right now it's just staying on one single note, right? Which feels a bit static and boring. So maybe we can add like a little bit of a harmony every now and then, going something like let's try that. Now, that's coming together strong, but of course we need a bass because, well, every chorus needs a bass, right? And I'm thinking let's skip the typical bass guitar patch here and go for an 808 instead, as it's more modern and it may make for a cooler contrast against all of these more organic elements we've been using so far. So from experience, I know Sublab offers some great presets, and there's this one preset called Humble that I use a lot because it sounds very clean and full. So here's what I ultimately came up with, and as you may notice, the bass notes vary from the progression we used in the verse and in the pre, which had quite a bit of tension going on, while the new chorus bass notes give a bit more of a resolved feel. And I think what would really make this great is some pitch bends where the 808 sometimes goes like boom. So in Sublab, let's set our pitch range to 12 to cover a full octave on both sides. Let's create an automation clip and let's start drawing the pitch bends. Now, typically with radio songs, the choruses tend to be quite short, so I think we should cap this to like 8 bars, as it may tease the listener to wanting to hear more. So let's copy and paste our first 4 bars, and I think it might be cool to drop all the production elements on the first beat of our second half to highlight the ooh, and to create a bit of an unexpected moment from a production standpoint, like something like this.
Let somebody go. Ooh.
And let's also create some variation in the 808 bass line here, doing something like ooh, bum bum boom.
Ooh.
And I think this is where we should also introduce a new percussive element, like maybe a hi-hat or maybe even a shaker to keep things from sounding stale.
Ooh. Let somebody go.
So I feel these additions definitely complete our chorus, and to optimally transition into the second verse, let's just make sure that we cut most of the elements from the final beat of the chorus. So the final beat only contains the drums and the muted guitar, as those will be the elements we're going to be using again in the second verse.
Let somebody go straight to the heart.
But instead of immediately reintroducing our piano and drums, I think it would be cool to do a little break here where we high pass the mute guitar while adding an actual heartbeat sample when the vocal mentions straight from the heart, as I typically like to use unconventional effects instead of the usual traditional fills and sweeps wherever possible. So let's search for heartbeat on Splice and see what we find. Okay, sounds good. Let's drag it in.
Go straight to the heart.
And to carry over the same energy from before, we should also reintroduce the drums and piano right after this like 1 bar variation in the second verse. But of course you want to keep the second verse interesting, so I think we should add like an ambient synth effect that goes, you know, like something like that. So maybe this night owl effect from Splice would work if we pitched it to the right key. Nice. And then we again arrive at our pre-chorus, which is where we'll be using the exact same elements as before, you know, the drums, the piano, the mute guitar, and our supporting bass guitar. But I do feel we need a new element here to keep things exciting, and I think a more open guitar could do the trick here, mirroring the same chord progression but playing a slightly different rhythm from the piano one. So let's open my favorite patch for that, which is the Electric Sunburst Deluxe library in Contact, and let's see if we can come up with something cool. Let's just add a low pass filter automation clip again to gradually introduce the guitar throughout the pre-chorus. And let's also add a subtle reverse cymbal and sweep at the end of the pre to better transition into the second chorus.
Let somebody go. Ooh.
Okay, I think our second half is sounding really solid, so now we'll need to think of something compelling to add to the second and final chorus that really signals that we're reaching the climax of the song. And since the song is quite mellow up until this point, I was thinking, what if we add a complete contrast to that by introducing some distorted guitar stabs that like really hit you in the feels, you know, with actual character. Like, we already have those nice and mellow contact guitar chords that we just created for the second pre, and we may be able to use this same library to get to a guitar sound with more character, with more distortion. Now, I like the sound of that, so I think we should just make the rhythm a bit more interesting for even more contrast. Maybe something like bum 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 bum. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, so I like that, and after 4 bars I'm thinking let's again do that little 1 beat break like we did in the first chorus, while leaving the distorted guitar chords playing like this.
Somebody, somebody go. Ooh.
And then we can just rinse and repeat those shakers for additional groove.
Ooh. Let somebody.
And let's try to sustain the notes played on the 808 here to create more of a final climax or finale effect. Something like this.
Let somebody go.
Okay, so I'm just loving this vocal melody, so I don't want things to end too abruptly after the second chorus. So we should find a way to continue this feeling before coming to an end. Maybe through a mellow outro that only features like the vocal, maybe the clap, and then our guitar chords. And then maybe the latter two could be slowly low pass filtered more and more to like gradually transition to the end of this song.
Ooh. Let somebody go.
And I think that's really it for the main elements and the structure of this song. So finally, I'm thinking we can still add some ear candy here and there to make the production sound more interesting and just to add that finishing touch. So upon listening back, I think the vocals could use some vocal sweeps at certain points, not just to improve the transitions, but also to fill up some of that empty space, for example over here in the first verse.
By you.
So what I'll do to create the vocal sweep is I'll add a reverb to the vocal with a 3 to 4 second decay and a wet level of about 40 to 50%. And then I'll add an instance of FL Studio's Edison. I'll hit record and I'll only play the first word of the vocal. I will then send this to the playlist as an audio clip through this little button here, where I'll reverse it to actually get a sweep effect, after which I'll cut off the final part of the audio clip and put it in the right position.
Wait.
And I repeated this at several points throughout this song.
Straight to the heart. Wait in the dark.
Also, I felt the second chorus and the outro could benefit from a tonal ambience effect in the background, which is why I added the following cymatic sample, which just adds a little bit of ear candy to the conclusion of our song.
Ooh. Let somebody go.
And lastly, I'm adding this vinyl crackle effect throughout the entire song to give it that analog tape feel, which I think works well for this warm, organic sounding pop song.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't broke.
And that's it. So today we covered the entire process of producing a song around a vocal, which is one of my favorite ways to get inspired and make music. And that's why I definitely encourage you to just search for a vocal and start creating, as who knows, you may just find the next great idea. Now, with that said, I'd like to thank you for watching. I'll see you next time and good luck with your song.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't broken apart by you. Wait in the dark. I try to cover up the mistakes and the pain and the scars from you. And I let somebody know me better. I thought that I would miss her more, but I wake up and I feel better. Cause I let somebody go. We've been going on forever. There's no more crying on the floor. And she said it's now or never. So I let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. 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 Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't broken apart by you. Wait in the dark. I try to cover up the mistakes and the pain and the scars from you. And I let somebody know me better. I thought that I would miss her more, but I wake up and I feel better. Cause I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. We've been going on forever. There's no one crying on the floor, and she said it's now or never. So I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go. Ooh. I let somebody, let somebody, let somebody go.